Hey there, Cracking Backs listeners. Today we're diving deep with Shane Bess. Once a rising star on the motocross tracks, now riding a completely different kind of race. From the high-octane world of professional motocross to confronting the shadowy turns of addiction and the opioid crisis. Shane's story isn't just about dirt tracks and adrenaline. It's a raw and real journey of redemption, resilience, and recovery. From being caught in the clutches of dirty doctors to now standing on the front line as a beacon of hope and counseling for others. So strap in, because this ride, you won't want to miss a single second of this episode with today's guest, Shane Bess.
Shane, my man, it's so nice to actually have you on this show. You and I have quite the history that we'll get into, but I am so happy to have you on our show. So welcome, bud.
Yeah, Dr. T, it's great to see you, and thank you for having me. And yeah, it's really cool to be back here and talk to you, especially after the journey I've been on since I've met you.
Well, let's talk about that journey. For all those listening, this guy was one of the top amateur motocross racers. Had the factory connections, had the signups, had the roster list, had the path of his future all set, and then a couple things happened. And so, can you walk us through the transitions from your childhood, your amateur racing career, to the professional realm, and then highlighting some of the pivotal moments that kind of paved the way to where we're talking to you today?
Yeah, for sure. Still stings a little bit when I go back there. I hear you say I had it all, and it is very, very true. But nothing is given; everything is earned, and mistakes happen along the way that detoured me pretty radically. But yeah, the childhood, born in Oxnard. Dad is a hardworking roofing contractor. Mom's a hard worker, and my dad got me into motocross because he grew up with some dirt bikes and Indian dunes racing out here. And all his friends were troublemakers. So when he had a kid, he was like, "What can I do with my son?" He didn't play the normal soccer and baseball, this type of ball and bat sports and stuff at school. So he started taking me dirt bike riding, and I used to say unluckily, but luckily, I was good at it. So he's like, "Well, damn, I had to keep him going. He's doing good." And we were going to the nationals really early on. I wasn't good early on, but then I had like this breakout race where like I was in a class in my age group, and then it was like a combined, the lower age group, upper age group, and I had never even won a race, and then I win a big moto at a national in Oklahoma. Super random, and from there it was just we were all in. He definitely was all in. I still had no clue what was going on really. But yeah, we did that for 12 years, racing motocross, amateur circuit. Had major support from Kawasaki and then Suzuki for I forget how many years at this point. Numbers are kind of skewed sometimes, but a long time with Suzuki. 6, 7, 8 motorcycles getting shipped to the garage door in crates every year. So just we had a good deal. A lot of amateur national championships. They seemed like they meant the world then. Dad still got some of his favorite ones. To me, they're just they don't really mean much to me anymore. But looking back, it was pretty radical what I was doing as a kid. I have more appreciation for it now. But yeah, we did the deal, man. And you know what that's like doing that with your son, and it's not an easy deal, and it's tough on the family. It's tough on the athlete. Homeschooled 9th grade, pulled out of high school. The normal socialization process was different for me, which caused me problems later on. I maybe like 22 to 25 broken bones. That's not counting all the soft tissue, all the shoulder separations, and rotator cuffs and disc that are messed up and stuff like that. I did a little list recently, and I got to 14 really bad concussions where there was like I was signed off from the world kind of concussions, like sleeping dirt nap. So, and I know there's more I forgot. So, but yeah, that was the amateur career. It's good times though, man. Good times. It definitely did something to who I am as a person and my mentality. Luckily, I was able to reconnect with that person, and that helped drive me through some of the real tough times that I was faced with a little bit later in life.
Do you mind talking about some of those tough times and where you went?
Yeah. So, turn pro, high pressure, factory rider, which is like I was in the Big Tent with Suzuki and Roger DeCoster, which listeners probably don't know, but it's like the Godfather of motocross, one of them. Definitely on Mount Rushmore motocross. Travis Pastrana, the greatest extreme athlete ever to grace a bike. Those were teammates, and that's who I was around. Had a big injury my last amateur year. Still had all the speed and rushed through that real quick. The bone came out of my radius, nerve damage. Had to learn how to use my hand, but I still mentally was strong. Just went into the pros a little bit too fast. Had a big concussion at a warm-up pro race, Supercross in Reno. Real bad one. That set me back mentally. I was not right. Got into the race, the pro season, big Supercross jumps, everything was just so extreme. Everything was happening so fast. I wasn't in the best shape. And just little injuries, couple collarbones, concussions, arm pump, bad starts. And that kind of just took me through my first year pro, got let go. The next year with the lower team, again, now I'm starting to live a little bit not right, away from the bike, trying to mask it with like marijuana and a little bit of drinking and just girls and just keeping myself occupied, mentally. But in the back of my head, I'm like, you're losing everything you ever worked for your whole life.
How old were you at that point?
Let's see, going into 19 years old.
Oh,
So it was like a real, like, if you did the whole 12 years and being a winner and doing all the stuff I did, to just complete defeat, trouble with me and my dad's relationship, real no social supports. Everybody loved me because I had money and I had, people to hang out with and parties and stuff, had all these friends. That helped me not focus on it, but it was a real dire feeling and thought of like, damn, this is really going down the drain, because the team I was on wasn't the greatest. I just came from the greatest team, so like I'm comparing what I'm on as far as equipment, and I'm like, it doesn't matter who you put on this bike, they're not competing with that. So it's just completely defeated. Kept pushing, trying my hardest to live, when it was turn on time and still train and stuff. I had a couple more really big concussions in the summer of that season. The AMA, or I forget who ran it at the time, but they told me I couldn't race for a few weeks because I had back-to-backs, and I was, they had to peel me off the track one day. And then I just quit. I quit. My mom was helped me with my bank account. She was on my bank account. I emptied my bank accounts. I disappeared from mom and dad. Mom was my friend, but dad was kind of gnarly. Just not in a bad way, but in a way, just he wanted, to push me and for me to earn what I deserved. But I just went off the grid and went down this deep, dark place. It didn't seem deep and dark at first. It seemed like a good thing. Like, yeah, I'm done racing. I don't want to do it no more. I'm done getting hurt. It seemed like fun for a while. I did that for like a year and a half, and then got re-inspired to race, and came back and did really good, and basically became an arena cross, which is a smaller level under supercross. It's like a Bellator or the UFC, if you can kind of match those up. Won a lot, got second in the championship. They canceled the last round, and I had just came from like 130 points down to within 20, and I was like winning every like first and second every weekend. So that really sucked, but things were good. I was figured out how to be a pro. I got rid of the bad habits. I had buddy Antonez really guiding me and checking on me and keeping me in line and being like that father figure person for me. I had a great teammate. Arena cross really suited me. I could be aggressive and bump people, good starter, not as much, tough competition. And I was like, cool, I'm going to do this for like 10 years. I'm going to be like, I'm going to follow Budman's tracks. I'm not really taking huge chances on big jumps. I'm not scaring the shit out of myself twice a lap. This is my niche right here. After my best year, that summer, my girlfriend, she passed away from, it's kind of a long story. It was an accident from 4 years earlier, crushed a heart valve. She didn't know. 4 years later, having trouble with what she thought was asthma. They found the problem. They did surgery. She flatlines, dies. Healthy person, a model. I'm having all healthy habits at this time. And that set me off again. And I didn't like drinking, but I had all these medications in the cabinet, right? You get hurt, you take them 3, 4, 5 days a week. You're trying to get off them as fast as possible. You're trying to get training, doing cardio on bikes in slings and stuff, and get the blood circulating. And I knew if I took a couple of those and a little bit of alcohol, it would do the trick, because I didn't like drinking a lot. And I wasn't into like doing no party drugs, ecstasy and coke. I had done that stuff for fun here and there, and that wasn't going to fix me. So I started doing that, and it just progressed into something nasty. It became, 4 pills, 5 pills. I got up to like 25, Norcos at a time. Then it went to Oxycontins. I was part of the Oxycontin movement, and once I got on those things, it was like, it was nothing nice. No matter how bad I wanted to quit, you go a couple days or a day without those, or a couple hours, it would put you to your knees. So depression, looking back, depression got me. And then the drug addiction, depression opened the door for the drug addiction to come in. And once that thing latched into me, already an extreme person, no social supports, people that really didn't, no one could tell me no anybody anyways, but people that really weren't real ones that could tell me, hey, you're out of control. They just were along for the ride too. And that went on into even worse place, but that was the beginning stages of that. So yeah, 6 really gnarly years of addiction.
Shane, let me ask you, I want to talk about one of the most deadly pandemics that's going on. And I'm not talking about COVID, I'm talking about the opioid crisis. And, there's been a lot of discussion over the recent years, and want to take a kind of a different twist on it. Let's talk dirty doctors and how they clearly exacerbated the whole crisis. And what are your feelings on that, and what should be done, and how should they be held accountable?
Well, definitely, it sucks to call them dirty, and they are. There was some really dirty ones out there. My doctor didn't seem like a bad guy or nothing. I definitely was in there manipulating the process, and trying to get more. But by the end, when I look back, he was giving me enough for like a couple families of addicts. I think that the system was really broken at the time, and they were really persuaded and baited with temptation for, you know, bonuses for how many pills could they push out the door, and if they hit numbers, they were getting monetary bonuses and stuff. And you know, we all have to resist temptation, and I think that that's sad too for them, you know, because that's baiting them. And I don't think that my doctor was a bad guy. He was a really cool China dude. We laughed, and at first he was trying to help me in an honest fashion. I had a messed up knee, ligament damage, and I didn't want to get surgery, and I wanted to keep racing, and I did. And I just wanted some pills for you know, after days of training or when it was really bad. I was trying not to take them, but when I needed it, I needed it. It was tore up. And then it progressed into, you know, at the end, I look back, I was getting like 4 pints of promethazine and codeine because I have asthma. That's crazy. That should last you for like months and months, just one. It's an opiate. I kicked just like on that as I did on heroin. I was getting 3 Oxycontins, 80s a day, and then I was getting 240 Norcos for the month. So I was getting, I mean, it's crazy. I was taking a car full of friends, and you know, one girl with implants, tell them your back hurts. Another friend that rode dirt bikes for fun and had a couple injuries, broke a wrist, just show them your wrist surgery. Another friend, we had this whole little hustle, you know, and it was just, I heard that he went to prison. I hate to see anyone go to prison. I know it's a really ugly place, but yeah, there was a lot of them. I know people, other motocrossers that were going to like 7 different doctors. I know that they've developed the system more to it's way more difficult. It's a completely different system than when I was doing it in 2007 through 12. I know now, you know, I've had foot surgeries and been stabbed and stuff, and I've had to have medication, and they'll give you like 5 days at a time only. I have other friends, chronic pain, you know, fused backs and stuff like that. Real like reasons for medication, and you know, it's a much more difficult system now, and it's good. That's awesome. I'm glad they made those changes. I think that Purdue was the OxyContin producer, and those companies that implemented those bonus plans should be held accountable. And you know, I know there's like the lawsuits and all that stuff, but I'm like part of that, and it's been like years and years and years. It keeps getting pushed and pushed and changed and pushed, so it'll never be justified, or the wrong will be never right. But yeah, it was a crazy era during that time. It's just that little 10-year period of time really changed families across the nation, and for forever. You know, so many people got hooked from those opiates, and then when it was all gone, when they couldn't get it no more, those bullshit reasons weren't valid no more. They're still hooked, and heroin was cheaper, and now you got fentanyl, and fentanyl's even cheaper than heroin.
God bless. So speaking of making wrongs into rights, you found yourself and became a counselor. How did that happen?
Yeah, I did. I've definitely found a good path to a good mountain to climb. You know, I had gone to treatment a few times. I mostly left like within the first week. One time I stayed. I was suicidal, substance-induced psychotic, full-time auditory and visual hallucinations. It lasted for, can't remember exactly, but I believe it was like within the 3 to 4 month range when I was clean, after I was done. Like, it was full-time. It sucked. The visuals stopped, but the auditory was still there, and I really thought I, you know, really damaged myself upstairs. I was suicidal over it because it's just so tiring to like deal with like deciphering my inner dialogue and these voices. So I told myself I'm gonna go to treatment. I didn't tell nobody because I was real serious about what I was gonna do if I had to do it. Um, I'm gonna go to treatment and really try my hardest one time. I know I never had tried my hardest. I know that I was half-assed, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna try my damn hardest, and that way I know when I decide what I'm gonna do, I'll be able to live with it, because it was really tiring to deal with that, and I didn't know if it was permanent. So I went. I found out it was like 10 days out of detox, so I was around 20 days in. There was 6 different counselors. One of them was my dad's friend who helped me get in. Another one was a real hard ass from prison dude, swastikas and shit on him. He gave everybody a hard time, but he knew my uncle. He was real cool to me. I connected with him and my other dad's friend. They were all saying the same thing, but I thought the other 4 were jackasses, but those 2 were the coolest guys, right? And I was like, I got no skills in life. I don't really want to be a rougher with my dad. Like that's real rough, tough stuff. My body's beat up. Not that I'm not a hard worker, but just what my injuries don't work good with stuff like that. I have no other skills. What am I gonna do? And I was like, man, I talked to the one guy with the swastikas and stuff, and he was getting them taken off and stuff. But he's like, I'm go to school and do this, and I was like, okay, that could be cool. And I'm like 20 days, and I'm like, I'm gonna be a alcohol and drug counselor. Do 5 months there, relapse, 1 month out. Didn't like it no more. They told me my high would be ruined. I did that relapse for a month, and I told my dad, I didn't like it. I gained 25 pounds in rehab, gym every day. A new little girl I was talking to, she see me start using. She's like, nah, bro, that's not cool. I'm out of here. Lost my weight, and I was like, nope, I want to go back to the Shane that I just was in treatment. And I got right on my own. I didn't go back to treatment. I just kicked in my van that I had totaled in the back of my dad's house. He said he'll let me in the house when I'm done kicking, because it was like a literal exorcism, like you hallucinate and all. It's pretty scary. Yeah. I did it, and I got right, and then my dad was like, see if you could borrow a bike from somebody, get out and have some fun for a little bit, So I borrowed a bike. I started riding with a buddy, spent a few months doing that. And I felt good, and my dad's like, do you want to get a good bike? Like, I'll buy you a bike as long as you just stay out of trouble. So I was like, let's buy a bike, do some local races. I'm not going to do nothing serious, but just do some local races, vet races. And get back hooked up with my old trainer, and then I hit the ground real hard, and I just yard sale myself. I'm in a bunch of pieces, break a collarbone, knocked out. And I was like, man, this is going to be rough. It didn't really deter me. I was like, no, I'm still going to do some races until I figure out, my dad's supportive of this. I'm still going to do it. And my trainer introduced me to Dr. T, and he sent me that way to go try to get healed up and stuff. And Dr. T was talking to me, and one day he reminded me of that thought. He's like, why don't you go to school and do something with your experience, and you can reach so many people. And I hadn't thought about it at all since like that day 20, or first couple months of treatment, when I had that thought, and it vanished. I didn't even remember. I was already back motocross only. Like, I'm gonna do this for a while. I could probably make enough money to survive and do this a few years. I was still 20, almost 29. And Dr. T told me that, and it was just right at a time where I was like, man, this is gonna suck. Damn, I'm not as young as I used to be. I don't bounce like I used to be, and he said that, and I was like, that's a good fucking idea. So I just went forward with it, and I went and signed up at school. My dad's like, what for? He didn't go to school. And I was like, I'm going to go back to school and try to be a counselor. He wanted me to race. He really wanted me to race. He thought I had some good years in me still. And it was one or the other. It was either say goodbye to motocross like that, have a bike, be a weekend warrior, which is real tough to do as an old pro. You know, a lot of old pros, they don't even like to feel how they feel on it. If they don't feel great on a bike, they don't want to no part of a bike. And I knew I had to let go of it, and I had to go chase this new aspiration, you know. And I love treatment, I love gel, I loved rehab, I loved detox, I loved it all. I loved all the characters in there. It was funny. I'm not like a funny person. I'm like real serious guy. Just motocross made me that way. So I love being around funny people, because it's like I'm not that way. So I didn't want to be a client in treatment no more, but I was like, how can I still be with these people? Maybe help them, maybe not, but it'll be fun. Cool. It'll be something on my time. And I just went after it.
You know, I'm going to interject for all you listeners out there listening to this for the past 20 minutes. This man just graduated a week ago, and he's now a full-fledged counselor. And what this guy has gone through, and the work is, it brings me to tears every time I see him. He's married, has a kid. He's a hell of a father, and he's become a huge inspiration. So first off, thank you for the kind words, but you did it on your own. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
You had some personal experience with the downfalls of addiction. Can you shed some challenges and gaps in the current treatment, the way they're currently treated, that you saw as gaps that hopefully you want to, maybe with some empathy, fix a couple things that you saw as a guy in the deep hole that you think can be fixed?
Yeah, that's a super loaded question, and it's tough because I'm just like little old me, you know. And it seems like such a big system that it's overwhelming to think about how not great it is. It's really tough. It's tough.
Kind of like a rough track where you have to jump 50 feet, you know.
Dude, it's a rough
it's the
track.
Same thing, man.
It's such a rough track, and it's just so tough, because it's a lot of times what I've seen, it's business model oriented. Money is money. There's good people all up and down in treatment, you know, but there's always going to be the business owners that it's more about money. And it's tough because it's tough to get the clinicians. There's a ton of good clinicians. I've been mentored. I have great people that I'm involved with. But it's just tough to, it's they get overloaded. No matter how great you are, overloaded, overwhelmed, you're taking on people's stuff, and it burns you out. Then there's people like me who really been through it. You know, because there's people that just went to school for it, maybe inspired by family member stuff or other mental health stuff of their own. Maybe they had no problems and just went to school. And then there's people like me who went through it all. But a lot of people like me don't really stay climbing that mountain to get in the doors to really do the work. And then, or they do, and then they get burnt out because there's so many people that need help. It's just tough, man. It's really tough just finding like the insurance, the private insurance. That's really tough for people to have if they don't have it. I mean, if you're having major problems, most likely you probably already lost your job, and your private insurance, you know, ability to be on that to get resources, because without private insurance, there's just really not enough state funded places. You know, we don't even have one. I think we have one here, a women's one. The male one I went to is no longer serving our county. You have to go all the way out to Tarzana Treatment Center. If you're Medi-Cal, that's like the only one that I know of. There might be another one or something in LA, but there's just, our county doesn't really have one.
So Shane, you and I talked about that, about this, and you know, you talked about how you weren't a good motocrosser when you started, and you just put in the work, and you became one of the best. You and I talked about on the phone about some opportunities that you saw, that, you know, whether it's reading a book or this or that. What are some, if you were to make a business and mission statement, coming from an athlete, not coming from a student, but coming from an athlete who's been down there, and you can only help one person at a time. So what is your thought process for affordable, high quality support for those battling addiction?
What is the thought process like as a business?
Yeah, yeah, and how you proceed going on with your life to fill these niches that are being lost instead of following the same path as everybody else. What do you see doing a little different with your background to make a difference?
Yeah, so I'm a program director at a facility right now. It's intensive outpatient. It's called Monarch Recovery here in Ventura. I think just networking. We do lunches and stuff with other providers in the county, all the way up to like in Conejo. Just just knowing the good places and sober livings in the area. We have a couple of those too, and affiliates that we work together, and it's like we give scholarships year round. We can't do, oh, you're not full of scholarships, but we always have a scholarship or two. I like to have two or three. Um, right now we have two. People have breakdown in insurance, so we had a client, great insurance. He didn't talk to his job, tell him the truth. They basically fired him after him on his third month of leave. His insurance got canceled. He called and told him the truth. They said, we wish you would have told us sooner because we really, adore you, and we would have gladly helped you until you finished that process. So now he's got no insurance. He's on day like 45 of treatment. Well, that's too soon to let him go. The goal was 90 days. Like, so he's another scholarship to finish his treatment, like not just focus on business model. Like if that's what you're in this, field of work for, like shame on you. It's really about helping save lives. And I think the business end will take care of itself, and everybody should be able to take care of their families. But it's sad to see when places, as soon as the money's not available, cut, you're out the door. We don't really care. And I've been in places like that. I know it happens. I'm not just guessing at it. I've seen it, and it's not okay. So yeah, just being tight with your community and the other resources. If clients come in and they're not a fit for us, maybe they have different mental health, more severe, or maybe just whatever is, maybe they're not getting along with the community. You've got a lot of different personalities. Not just keep them in my doors to collect their insurance money, and find someone in my network to put them to where it would be a better fit for them, for the client, to get them the care that they need, and for them to be able to focus. So just being client centered, man, and trying to give back when we can, as much as we can. Our facility, the sober living more so, not that it's separate from the treatment IOP and the sober livings, but those guys, the owners are the same owners. They get them out to the lake, get them out wakeboarding, get them out to Big Bear to snowboard in the winter. They take them on a camping trip. We wish we could do more. I do boxing with guys. I've inspired a bunch of dudes about boxing, hiking, just different things where it's like, this is what you could do, give them just different experiences, not just like treatment, group. Okay, you're out the door. Good luck. Like, just give them little glimpses of like, these are different things you could do with your life, and just try to inspire myself too. I share my story and my love for my kid and my family and school. I've had a bunch of clients be like, dude, you inspired me. I want to do school too. I want to do something with my life. Like, they see me. I'm open. I don't try to be a closed book. I try to like let them know, yeah, I got 2 hours of sleep last night. I said it's 12. Then the baby didn't let me go to sleep. I'm here with you guys, and I just show up. That's what I do, and we still have a great day. And just try to share what has worked for me.
Shane, you've been on the streets, and then you continue speaking to people that are still struggling, and now you're part of a solution. And I mean, this question has two parts to it. Do you see a big difference, or a difference in the big picture happening? Or why is it still such a big problem? And is it, factors involving, fentanyl getting shipped into this country in the droves? Is it is it are their doctors still? I mean, you already clarified that they're not prescribed; they're a little more restricted. But is the heroin the problem? What's still happening at this point right now?
Yeah, the fentanyl is a whole another crisis, and all the heroin addicts use heroin's not even like really a thing anymore. It's just fentanyl only. It's super cheap. It really feels. I'm not a conspiracy guy whatsoever, but it feels like a chemical warfare on America, honestly. Um, and it really is not. It really kills them quick. So that's a whole nother ball game here. I mean, I've lost 6 clients in 8 months. Yeah, those numbers are astounding. Like, it used to be, a client a year or something, 2 a year or something. That's still terrible, but it's like they're just rapid fire now. My Facebook, it's a lot of recovery individuals in there. So a lot of people I don't know, but that my friends in recovery know. And I'm seeing them posting goodbyes and rest in pieces. And it's tough, man. It's tough working in the field, but the fentanyl, um, just life in general, the strains and the requirements to survive, the pressures of the world, everything is inflation stuff, and it's tough on people, and it causes stress, and people don't know how to cope. I think that mental health awareness has come a long way, and that was something that I'm not like super big speaker, and I'm kind of introvert, but I know like when opportunities like this come up just to speak about mental health and addiction, I have to take that opportunity just to share, because I know there's still people that try to hide it and don't feel okay. They don't want to be vulnerable and allow themselves to be seen for what they are and seen that they're struggling. I think that it is getting better in a sense, but also worse in a sense. I still have a lot of hope. I think people are becoming more aware of what they are dealing with. If they have like a mood disorder, personality diagnosis or something, like there is support groups, and um, going and seeing a psychiatrist is okay. There is reasons, and it is helpful, and some people it isn't, some people it is, but seeing a therapist, having a counselor, getting that stuff out there and trying to see if you could learn any tools to help yourself, and helping yourself will help the others around you, your kids, and husbands and wives, and try to share the knowledge.
You mentioned when we were talking one time, you mentioned a book that you said is a really good book that if anybody is looking for some help to read it. Do you remember what was that book?
Man, I got quite a few books. I can't quite remember exactly, but I have a little list that's my kind of like gold playlist of books that I really try to share with clients. Codependency No More by Melody Beattie is something that I started off with, and I realized my codependency, I didn't know what that term meant. That was really helpful to learn boundaries and learn. I felt like I'd always get let down as a person. I always did too much for people, and I always try to be the best friend, and it was a return, and it would emotionally trigger me. It would get me bummed out, and that really helped get that knowledge. So Codependency No More. Um, I like this book, Attached. It teaches you about your attachment style. A lot of people should learn about their attachment style, but again, in relationships, emotional triggers, being let down, learning how to read people a little better, and learning about how we, what criteria goes along with our attachment style. And there's like a really good test on the Attachment Project online. You just put it the Attachment Project, and it'll come up. You could take a 10-minute quiz, and it'll give you you'll go down a little rabbit hole on that. So but that book Attached really goes deeply into it. This book, A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He was in the concentration camps. It's such an inspiring book, and it really helped me dig down and dig deep to get through school. And I try to give that to my clients because I know they're in a spot, and this guy was literally skin and bones, and still, he kind of shares with you, they can take everything from you, but they can't take like your attitude. How are you going to look at things? And what else I got? The body keeps a score. Understand, if you've been through trauma, the effects that it has on you long term, and how to manage that, and how to free yourself of some of the symptoms of that. That's a really, really good book. I can't think of any others right now at the top of my head, but those are some really good ones. There's another one, Daughters of Alcoholics. Even if you're a male or female, it's a great book to kind of learn about how we're affected growing up in an alcoholic family, and the things it does to us as far as seeking attention, and bad poor boundaries with people, and all these things. I really think recovery and mental illness, it's not like, I always tell my clients, like, it's not about just clean UA cups. You could be clean for years but still have not really done the work to change the person. I really believe in character transformation, and this stuff, like these books, they really can help modify that character and give you understand yourself, because we think it's all external. The world's just happening to us, but so much of our problems are external, yes, but internal. Happiness is an inside job, and we have to go in there, and it's tough. You don't even know where to start. You just see like psychology books and a bunch of self-help and how to unfuck yourself and all these different things, and the subtle art of not giving a shit or something. It's like, some of them are good, some of them aren't, but there's so many. So these are all books that referred to me from my therapist mentors. I have a couple friends that were ahead of me in becoming therapists, so they were like, read this book, read this book, read this book. Or my supervisor, who's got a PhD, a PsyD, read this book, Shane, read this one. And it's like, so those are some of those titles, and I have so many more. I just can't think of them right now, but those ones are all really, really, really good. I think Another Chance, it's a family of alcoholics, so it teaches you really like the different identities, how the family kind of dances getting through alcoholism. That's very helpful too. Another Chance. It's like written in the 80s, but it's like a Bible of a family of alcoholics. So yeah.
Thanks, Shane. That was quite a library you have stored in your head there. Thank you for sharing. I have to go back a little bit and ask you a question that aroused my curiosity, and that was how people are dying from fentanyl. I mean, just instantly sometimes. And how has that made an impact? Because the statistics could easily show that there are less addicts because they're dying faster. Whereas years ago you could be an addict and go through treatment multiple times and not die. Now it's just one dose, one snort, and you're instantly gone. So is the solution working, or is it just they're dying more?
That's a tough one to call. It is tough. That's why I feel like it's a bad business model, fentanyl. So as a drug dealer, you don't want to kill your clients. So that's why I feel like it's chemical warfare, because it's like it doesn't make sense, to want your clients to risk them. But I think there's millions of people here in America, and people are just getting on that wagon all the time, just daily, being introduced to it. And you know, an addict is real smart, and their tolerance is built over time. So I know a girl, and she used to do like a whole syringe full of fentanyl, no problem. She had built up to that, over the years. And yeah, then I know big men who, they have 30 days clean, and then they relapse the very first inhale when they go back, and then they come back to me and they're like, I just inhaled a little bit too long when I was smoking it, and I almost died like that. And so that tolerance, it's really such a statistics show, like after you really start trying, and I have experience too, really when you want to get clean and you're really sick and tired and you're going to try, that's when I started having my overdoses back with just heroin, which was way safer, which is crazy to say. But
Yeah.
it's really, you see when people go to jail, when they get out of jail, that period right then, the numbers are through the roof. And when they really want to get help and really get right, and if they have a little bit of clean time and they slip up, there's no room for slips with that stuff. And that's really scary. And it's crazy. So I couldn't tell you the overall picture is getting better. I don't know. I know more and more people are being affected by losing someone from fentanyl. So I hope that by now the awareness should be there, but hopefully more awareness and more just deterrence is to stay away from this stuff. And yeah, it's not nothing to mess with.
How do you feel about the drug that they just allowed for over-the-counter use that anybody could carry with them? I'm blanking out on the name of the one that will revive somebody.
Narcan?
What is it? Narcan, yeah. How do you feel about the fact that they now make it available to anybody, to minimize the deaths?
We have a connection with the company. We hand it out. It needs to be around somewhere. But then it's like, people use it, or are people gonna use it as a safety net, or hey, I've been clean, I could use, and just I got Narcan, like, I don't know how that's gonna work out, but it needs to be around somewhere for people. I'm sure it's gonna be misused and not used in the right way, but I mean, at least you can give someone a second chance, hopefully, with it. But I know there's going to be those people out there that are like, well, I could do this because I got that, and here, just watch me, make sure I don't die, but don't ruin my high.
Yeah. Right.
There's such polarities with all that stuff, there's always like both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
And man, I think we got to educate our kids early on about what's out there. I have 7 nieces and nephews and a son, and I'm going to be very open with my drug use and letting them know, like, I don't want them to hide it, and they need help early on, and like the difference in THC and fentanyl and all these different things. Fentanyl's in cocaine, they're putting in everything. So like, just helping them to stay away from it and try to show them some other life experiences that are much funner, and for them to learn how to be high on life in a healthy way, mountain biking or this or that, anything, just not that. Like, just don't go down that road.
Okay, Shane, we've been pretty serious over the past 45 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and enter into what we call our rapid fire round. 5 questions. We're going to throw them out to you, and you're going to answer them as simply and as fast as you can, which tends to not ever happen. We get hung up on a cool answer and we start asking you more about it. Are you ready?
We're ready.
All right, man. Rapid fire question number 1. I understand you have a lot of tattoos. What's your favorite?
Jesus, man. Got my Jesus piece right here. The stained glass. Yeah.
You didn't hesitate for a second. You knew exactly which one. Well, I'm glad it wasn't on your butt or anything, because I wouldn't want to get moved down.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. When was that done?
That was done probably about 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. 5 years ago. I had some space and yeah, I found God during my I found my higher power and during my recovery, and I thought, perfect. I saved this arm for a reason, and it just was meant to be.
Very good.
Oh, beautiful.
Question number 2. What's your best tip for people fighting addiction to take their mind off their want?
Best tip, get with other healthy people, get a healthy hobby, exercise. I would say, like, exercise no matter what, no matter how bad you feel, even if it's 5-10 minutes. Sunshine, exercise, water, get outside, get out of the house.
Love it. Question number 3. If they were going to make a movie about your life, who would you want to play?
Who would I want to play me?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm not very good with actors and actresses' names. Let's see. Shoot. I don't know that I got an answer for you. I'm terrible in that world. I don't ever pay attention to nobody's names and that are actors and actresses.
Terry, who do you think should play his part?
Let's just go with Jason Momoa.
Okay, yeah. He's like 3 times my size, but
must be a hair thing. That's
yeah.
Question number 4. What's your favorite activity now to get that adrenaline rush?
Favorite activity for adrenaline? Oh, pickleball is my new thing. So I was boxing. I'm hitting 40. I need to stop getting hit in the head, and it's been replaced with pickleball lately. And I was playing with 60-year-old ladies the other day, and they were really good. And I don't know, man. It just gives me that. It just makes me real happy. You're in the sun, have some good rallies, and it really relaxes me.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. Plus, we used to say CrossFitters would keep chiropractors in business, but now it's the
pickleballers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just saw another one this morning. Last and final question: if you go back in time, who would you like to meet, and what question would you ask?
Ooh, what question would I ask? I don't know. Who would I like to meet? Man, Jesus. I would love to meet Muhammad Ali. Yeah, I would love.
Cool.
And I don't know what question I would ask him, though. I would just love to be in his presence for like one of his training camp days or something, and just hear him joking with everybody and how charismatic the guy was. And yeah, I would love to see what he said about my mullet. That's my question. How do you like my hair?
Yeah. Man, you just threw that out there. I didn't expect that.
And you know what? I've met him before, and he would probably just love that.
That's cool. Yeah, I think he would. I know he would. So.
That's beautiful. All right, buddy. Well, we're gonna wrap this up, but I do want to ask you one final question. And considering your transformation journey, and I'm going to drill this into people listening. You went from the streets, living out of a car, broken, down the deepest hole, and now you're in a position that you're married with a kid. You're a counselor. You've done so much, and the same respect I had as a racer, because you went from a kid that could barely ride to one of the greatest. So your life right now is mimicking your present life, and I can see you just getting better and better. Is there one piece of advice you can offer individuals currently battling addiction? And what would that be? What message would you like to send to communities, institutions to better support those that are recovering in their journey as well? What message do you want to leave everybody with? Institutions, people listening, what's a message you want to leave because from your journey?
I think it's just institutions. I would hope that they would do some more scholarships and make it more affordable, and to people just to reach out, not to hide it, not to live with that shame. It's okay. We all, everybody's going to go through shit. Everybody's got their bag of stuff that they carry along with them. And just to reach out and start, there's low cost therapy everywhere. I work at one low cost therapy place, and go see a professional that's been trained and get to work. There is hope, but drowning yourself with drugs and alcohol, that's another thing. You got to detox. You got to get social supports. Meetings are great, but therapy's great. But start taking action, because it's gonna get worse for sure. And I was using big time. Like, I was not messing around. I was an extreme athlete. I was using drugs in an extreme way. And I pulled out of it, and anybody could do it. Anybody could do it. It doesn't take, you don't have to have a superpower. You just have to get started and get to work, get some professional advice, get some, even if you don't have money for professional meetings, there's men in there with 25 years, and they'll give you pointers and give you tips, and, soul food just for today, something to get you through the day, mantras, positive affirmations. Most of all, disconnect from all the bad people. And for me, that meant everybody, except I knew I was safe with my grandma, my nephews, my sister, my dad, and that's who I started with. Then I got to school, and then I had healthy young students that were good. My boxing gym, I had a couple people. I got plugged in there. Just start building life. It's doable, and there's people out there that can teach you how to do it.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing some deep stuff.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Crackin' Backs podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Crackin' Backs Podcast. Catch new episodes every Monday. See you next time.